Good morning. This is Hunter Morrison. I'm the planning consultant for the city of Youngstown. And this is the design review committee meeting of Tuesday, January 5th, 2021 at 9 a.m. This is a virtual meeting. Good morning. Good morning. So we will begin with the first case. We've asked all the presenters to be prepared to make their presentation through a share screen if possible. The first case is case number DRC 2101. Greg Storlo and David Roos of Storlo Architects, a proposal to construct a pre-engineered metal building with a metal roof and metal siding at Valley Foods located at 335 East Boardman Street, Youngstown, Ohio, 44503. Mr. Roos, are you prepared to present?
I am. I don't have on-screen information, but I believe everybody was issued a packet as late as last night with the site plan information and elevations and plans. But basically the expansion for Valley Foods is a 4,700 square foot addition for factory, food production space, and then an expansion of their freezer cooler area of about 6,600 square feet cooler freezer space. The plans is basically to expand the building to the south and just match the existing building materials that currently exist on site.
Are there questions from members of the committee? Any questions on this?
This is Jay Crafton. Are there any additional parking requirements? Has this been through zoning?
Yeah, it's been through zoning. It's been through city review for stormwater, and this plan doesn't show it, but there is a site plan that shows the parking being moved towards the southwest of this property. There should be a site plan in that set, be the first one.
So along with this, is there any new landscaping considered with the change in parking and the change in site layout?
The landscaping that exists now is going to be replaced along Dodds Alley. There are trees there along Dodds Alley now. If they need to be removed for construction, they're going to be replaced. And then as far as the parking lot, landscape isn't 100% defined there other than to surround the lot with some greenery. We're not 100% at this point. We're going to maintain the location of the parking there as the client and city are discussing additional area for parking.
So I may have missed it in your earlier description, but are the new materials color coordinated with the existing finishes?
Yeah, the metal siding is just continuing. We're just expanding the colors that are current. The freezer and cooler, I believe, are white metal panels. We'll just continue that material for the freezer cooler, and the metal building itself is it's not quite a tan, it's a little richer brown, and the metal building siding will all match profile and color.
Thanks.
Now you have is part of your proposal encroaching on the right of way of South Avenue?
No.
Okay. I thought there was some matter that's going to come before the site plan issue. Chuck, is there anything that you have under review?
To the chair. This is Laura
Yes,
Fulmer. Morning.
Laura. Yes, Laura.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that this hasn't been through the zoning review yet. We just initially got this project for design review, so there still will be a zoning review.
To
Okay.
deal with parking and rights of way and any other issues.
Correct.
Okay.
It has not been reviewed for Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission.
Okay.
We've just prepared it for design review today. So there's more information to be obtained.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dave,
Yes.
on the proposed parking lot where we're going to be vacating the right of way,
Right.
I did get a preliminary plat from
Joe.
the surveyor. And I was just wondering, in the site plan, I didn't really notice it, but is there going to be is there proposed access, physical access to South Avenue from there?
No, it'll all be off of Dodds Alley.
So there's no driveway entrance proposed.
That's correct.
Okay, with that, is there, does it make any sense to see if we can put any type of landscaping on? Like a little landscaping buffer or plant some plantings on South
Yeah,
Avenue?
I think that's the intent, Chuck. As we kind of discussed, previously. Right now, the parking lot shown is a little south of the current area that they're using now, and I guess depending on what takes place between the owner and the city on that one piece of land, or what happens with that, once we know the area we're working for that expanded parking, then we'll work out those landscape requirements with zoning. If a buffer is required along South Avenue in the lot, then we'll address that.
So we'll address that issue when the matter comes before Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning.
Yeah, I think what Laura is kind of indicating, we still have to finalize what the landscape plan will be for any new landscape requirements and those sort of things. So, we're kind of working through that process. It's a little bit of a moving target at the moment as far as the end result location for parking. And once we determine that, then we'll, address the landscaping and such.
Okay. So today we're dealing with really the aesthetics of an addition of a metal-sided pre-engineered building to complement the existing building. The colors again that you're proposing for the new addition are what?
To match the existing, the freezer cooler are white metal freezer panels. Cooler panels are insulated, and the metal building is a corrugated type metal siding with, it's just to match. It's a brown. I guess we'll call it a brown.
Right. And the members have copies of the plans that were sent out by Jaleesa. That's correct? So, are there any questions, additional questions from members of the committee?
Yeah, Dave, this is Jay Crafton. Your one elevation shows looks like masonry units, wainscot type
Yeah,
of thing.
that's exists on the existing building, Jay. That's just going to remain.
Oh, okay.
So right where that masonry stops is where the new building picks up, and it'll be all metal siding to match the existing metal siding.
Oh, okay.
What are the issues, David, in terms of the parking? Do you have enough room on the land that you control to meet the parking requirements, or what are you?
Yeah, there will be basically the space that's allocated for their parking, which is lightly used as it is now because of their deliveries and different things. It's just going to be relocated to the lot that's either shown on that site plan or to a lot just north of that parking zone. And again, there's an area there that they currently utilize to park, which is, I believe, owned by the city. And there's some negotiations, I believe, in place between the owner and the city about a purchase of that and some abandoning of some of Dodds Alley and sewer lines and such.
So these are the issues that we're going to be dealing with before the planning commission to meet your parking requirements.
That's correct.
Okay.
Chuck, I
So-
don't know if you could want to speak to that any more about what we've gone through or with you and Kadar and the site and what the plan is there, but
I don't know that it's relevant to the design review committee, but
all right.
from an engineering standpoint, I mean, there is a sewer over the proposed addition. It's a public sewer, but it only services them. So they're going to relocate it around. And that's that. So
Okay.
we don't really have any engineering issues. The parking lot, proposed parking lot they're showing is in existing right of way. It requests to vacate that portion of the right of way. It's really not really necessary for the roadway. So I see no reason why we couldn't allow the right of way to be vacated. That will be forthcoming to planning commission.
Okay. Are there any other questions on the aesthetics of the addition that is being proposed at this stage?
Dave, did you, now that I'm looking at your elevations, you have the masonry pochade in, and you'll just have metal siding on the addition. Did you have any consideration to the west elevation facing South Avenue to continue some of that wainscot, that masonry wainscot?
You don't see that on South Avenue because the way the freezer projects out past the building, the freezer, those white metal panels. So the back side and the west side or east side of that building are not really visible from South Avenue. We had talked about the masonry, but in order to control some of the budget issues we were dealing with, and we just decided it'd be best to move forward with the metal siding.
I think it would be helpful to have a site plan that included the South Avenue. It's hard to get an orientation with the parking lot and the little bit of South Avenue that I'm assuming is the right-of-way line for that roadway. And I would think that if a landscape plan is developed, that it should include that so that you're seeing what it's going to be like from South Avenue and the visual impact for people traveling South Avenue.
Yeah, I think the visual impact is no different than it really is now, other than there's a little more building there. It's clear open ground right now. So any improvements that take place, whether with bushes or some form of landscape, tree, whatever, is going to be an improvement. But yeah, we'll take that into consideration when submitting that plan to Laura.
So you'll address that elevation and the aesthetics before the planning commission?
Yeah, it's really not changing much, Hunter, as opposed to what's there now. It's just kind of an expansion. Right now, what you have is a bunch of really grass area and street paving that you still see the building from South Avenue, whether it's expanded or remains the way it is. So anything that we do in that area that's going to require additional bushes, trees, landscaping is going to be an improvement from that South Avenue view. So as we submit a plan for that, whatever the requirements are that we need to meet, we'll address that in the plan.
Jay, does that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Are there any other questions that members have of the applicant? If there are no other questions, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the proposal to construct pre-engineered metal building for Valley Foods as submitted.
I will make a motion to approve the submittal as submitted.
Mr. Shasho makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Who's the second?
Bill Davignon.
Bill Davignon. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposal 21-01 as submitted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. David, we'll see you in a little bit before the Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is DRC 2102 by Angeli Greenheart Companies. Proposal to perform exterior alterations, including the following: repair and repointing of masonry, covering existing brick focal wall with a hardy board panel siding, caulk and paint exterior wall panels, adjacent surfaces, replace storefront system, repair and replace parking deck, hollow core plank, and repair and replace soffit lighting at the Legal Arts Building at 105 Market Street, Youngstown, Ohio. Brian, welcome. Good morning.
I think, do you guys all have the colored renderings available?
I think they've been sent out, but what do you have to show us here? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not in color there.
Do members of the committee have the materials that were sent out by?
I received them.
Okay.
This is John DeFrance.
I apologize. I just got into town last night, so I know that this was taken care of the end of the week or maybe even yesterday. But I can walk you guys through it here.
Okay.
So I think for the most part, really most of the work is just painting existing, staying very close to the original colors, or at least the existing. I just toned down the yellows a little bit. There should be a sheet there that shows the color selections, but my intent was really to not change the building hardly at all. To keep it as close to as original, at least when we bought it, as we can. All the mosaic, we've ordered matching glass mosaic to as many colors as we got there. My intent there as well is to, we just missed the weather, but my intent there is to clean it, replace the pieces with as close color as possible, and then clear coat it with a protective coating, epoxy coating. The only change that we're proposing is that center focal wall that you kind of see real thin there. That's the brick. And if you guys have all driven by the building, not that one, over a little bit more, the brick one to my right, I guess. If I'm
Yeah,
looking
the black one. Yeah.
right there. That is that's that glazed brick, which is in great condition on the rest of the building, but it's falling apart on that section there. Must have been getting some water in from up above at some point. Anyhow, we've looked at replacing anything close to it. Really can't find anything that's going to match. We've used this paneled hardy board. It's like a 4x4 panel with a grooved channel. Actually, if you look at the Lofts building that we've completed recently up there, it's on it in red. It's beautiful. And we thought it would fade away in black, but still maintain the lines and the intent, the design of the building. And we could cover that brick and conceal it from falling apart any further. That's really the only change to the elevation we're looking to make. The new storefronts are anodized, very similar to what's there, if not exactly. And again, the intent was to keep the building relatively as close to the original as possible.
Oh, very good. I know when you and I talked early on, this is a building that has sort of a mid-century modern historic quality to it. I'm glad to see that you're doing what you can.
You guys, unfortunately, I didn't really realize when I pulled the permits that because I was doing such little changes that I needed a zoning permit. Found that out kind of after through the building department. But when we were doing but if you guys have driven by the building, I mean, it looks great. It's really come out. I mean, most of that paintwork is completed. And a lot of the power washing, the bricks completed. Just the final touches in the spring, I think is going to really make it pop.
And we have the paint samples here.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian, myself along with Hunter, I really applaud what you're doing. Run us through again what the extent of the Hardy board application is. Is it everywhere?
No, it's just that one. If you drive by the building, or if you go back to that elevation, there is just one. Go back to the front elevation. Well, you can go back to the front. So it's the thin line of brick right there. Okay, now go back to the side elevation.
All right.
The previous one you had up.
Rick, can you go back there?
Okay, now not that one. Nope. Nope, there should be,
This
yeah,
one,
right there.
yeah.
Okay, now, if you go over to the top right and come down a little bit, you'll see a little bit of where that projects forward. It would go up and carry that whole section, and it would be black. Right there, it would carry up and over, not all the way over, but just right to there. Keep going a little bit further, right to where the end, right where that wall stops. So, and it's only visible on that side of the building, and it's a thin 3-foot strip down. I didn't think it would look good to terminate it anywhere else but there. The brick is still good condition up on top, but I think it would be choppy not to cover that entire wall pane. So it's a really, really sharp product. And again, it will be black. It will kind of fade in away with the brick that will there. I don't think many people will notice it, to be honest.
No, he's not.
Thanks. That's a good clarification.
Now, is this the Hardy board is a butt joint or is it laps?
It's got a groove channel. I can again, the best, if you want to see it, we've just put it, and that's why I'm using it. We just put up on the loft, so their focal wall, it's an actual red, and it's sharp.
That's the red wall that comes down.
Red wall, and it has like a channeled channel where these panels sit in. It's in it. We're gonna paint it black versus the color obviously that was there. And I just think it's a nice fit, and it's gonna just kind of fade into what's there. It's not gonna change the look of this building much at all. And being that it's masonry and falling apart, I'm afraid to get into it any further. I want to be able to, what we're doing is stabilizing it by this, and we already stopped the water that was getting behind there. So
Okay. Yeah. So I walked by the building. I saw that bricks are peeling the surface layers peeling off.
Actually, most of all the existing metal and the products that were on the building, it looked really, really bad, but it really was not bad. It was paint and a little bit of rust and just neglect. Once we got into it, we were able to keep 90% of the products that were there. I mean, they're not even dented.
That's wonderful. Are there questions? Yes, Councilman Oliver, unmute. Yeah.
Thank you. A quick question for Brian. Brian, first of all, I want to say thanks. I really appreciate, the work and the investment, getting this building back in place. I think the entire city will appreciate putting another building back into use in downtown Youngstown. Second thing is, I know years ago, there was a structural problem in the front of the building where the building meets the sidewalk. How did you address that issue, or was that an actual issue?
I don't see any structural issues in the front of the building. We did, I had my engineer come through and inspect the building before we bought it. We noticed the issues in the parking deck due to probably not putting a top coating on them and the water infiltration over the years. When we replaced the deck, I did all the steel replacements. They're kind of listed on those drawings, and then some to stabilize all that. I've been in the basement of that building and in the front. I've never seen anything from the sidewalk. Now, a lot of these buildings have these, I guess, like vaults out in front of them. We've dealt with them on the buildings I've got at Realty. I'm going to have it at Gallagher. We've dealt with them on the other buildings we've done down there like Erie. Now, at some point, does that get filled in? I don't know. But for this phase, and from what I see, I don't see any settling on those sidewalks out in front. The courthouse exposed part of it with their new expansion of the front there, and they've done some work to close it up for water infiltration. But no, I'm not aware of anything up in the front of the building.
Chuck, are there any sidewalk vault issue you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, but
It's cleaner than any of the other buildings I have down there. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's the vault itself is dry, and I don't see anything moving on those front walks, at least that location.
That's remarkable.
Second question to be, did you have any plans for the rooftop?
So my initial plans right now are I want to get the parking deck in the operation by February. Getting it lit up, getting everything set up, getting our terminals in there and getting that into play, and the front tenant space, which I'm targeting a breakfast lunch type operation, whether it's a mom and pop or a Dunkin' Donuts. We're talking to several people, but I think that is a breakfast lunch location, coffee, whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of foot traffic by that corner. So the upper floors, to be honest with you, we're going to kind of let that kind of take it on its own. We won't be developing it for small tenant spaces. It's either going to be a larger user or, down the road, maybe residential with the rooftop bar, maybe a boutique hotel. But we're going to just sit back and let things kind of develop here and see where the demand is over the little bit after. First thing I want to do is get this front space filled up, get the parking deck into operation. We're going to kind of see where it goes from there.
Thank you. Thanks again for having the courage.
It's a heck of a rooftop situation, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there, though. It's beautiful.
It's real nice. I think there will be something up there at some point, restaurant or something.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Do any other members have questions for Brian? Well, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve case 2120 for the Legal Arts Building as submitted.
I make a motion, we accept it as submitted.
Second.
Who made the second?
Creason.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Brian, thank you. Thanks again for
Thanks, guys.
being so thorough on this.
Yep.
I look forward
Thank you
to
very
talking
much.
to you further.
Okay, have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you. There are no other issues before the committee. Any other discussion that members wish to have?
Nice work, Brian.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for participating the last year. This is 2020. I don't need to say has been a challenging year to proceed. I think we've repopulated the design review committee, tightened up some of the presentation standards, and then done this all virtually. Presented it, recorded it, and presented these out to the world through YouTube. And I just want to thank everyone for their continued participation in the effort and their engagement. And we're looking forward in 2021 to some updates of the design code, some further work on downtown parking, and integrating the work on the Smart 2 project, which Chuck has been taking the lead on, with improvements in other streets and other streetscape work that we've been working on. So it should be an interesting year. But again, thank you for your participation and willingness to shift to a virtual world. Nikki, did you have any comments on behalf of the mayor?
No, just thank you all for all of your support through 2020. As Hunter said, it was a challenging year for all of us, but we continue to push forward, and we're always excited about great things happening in downtown and spreading out throughout the community. So thank you, and we look forward to 2021.
Okay, very, very good. If there are no other questions or comments from the members, and are there any? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.